Excuse me, Mr. DJ.
Hey, check this out. We got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, the #1 sports information program in America, the Breakfast Bankroll, with your host, the sports broker, Jeff Dawson.
ECSI fans, do you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all of your sports books and track all of your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You can also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as they're the best account on the platform. Head to the App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire to download the app. Hey sports fans, are you ready for an exhilarating gaming experience? Introducing VIPClub.lv, your ultimate online sportsbook and casino. VIPClub.lv offers a vast selection of sports, from football and basketball to tennis and baseball. Bet on your favorite teams and enjoy the thrill of the game. But that's not all. Our state-of-the-art online casino offers a dazzling array of games, including slots, blackjack, roulette, and live dealer tables. Win big with their fantastic promotions, rewards, and exclusive offers. Join VIPClub.lv today and get a generous 100% match welcome bonus to start your winning streak. And make sure to use code ECSI at sign-up. Bet it, win it, and cash it at VIPClub.lv. Visit VIPClub.lv now and play responsibly. VIPClub.lv, your sportsbook and casino extravaganza. Must be 21 or older to play. Please gamble responsibly. Visit gambleware.org for help.
Good morning, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the co-host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your Breakfast Bankroll and Big 10 preview for Friday the 13th, 2024. Yes, don't get spooked. You're fine. You're in great hands here with myself and Riley. Shout out to the gentlemen behind the glass, Evan Lewis and Joseph Shea, and of course, our proud new sponsor in partnership with WagerWire. If you have not downloaded the app, please run to Google Play wherever you do download the app. It's free. Start tracking those bets. Or as like we like to say, investments. Get familiar with the app. Scroll down to the bottom. Start downloading some of those sports books that are available in your state. And from there, if you're looking to maybe make a little flash cash, send an email to affiliate at wagerwire.com. Tell them JD from ECSI sent you. Zach, Travis, the rest of that team, staff, and community, second to none. And we are super stoked to be partnered with them. 2024 couldn't be brighter. And I will be on their Twitter spaces, I think, at 12 o'clock. Excited for a little meet and greet and start to talk some shop with them. So without further ado, let's bring in the co-star of this show, the one and only Mr. Riley Magnuson. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, my friend. Happy Friday morning. I am feeling good over here. Hoping my internet holds up for us today. I told you I getting blasted with some snowy conditions this morning. So better, not as windy as the other day. Why I wasn't on the show Tuesday, but getting blasted again. So hoping it holds off for us. And I think the NFL is probably, or the NFL teams, if they were potentially having to travel here, are probably glad that Green Bay or Chicago aren't hosting any playoffs, because whether it's snowy conditions Friday, Saturday, or the projected 0-ish degrees on Sunday, Monday, I think the rest of the NFL is glad they don't have to come to Green Bay or Chicago this weekend. But obviously only one of those teams is in the playoffs, my friends. But I'm ready to rock and roll wherever. We've obviously got, like you said, I know you've got a busy day, so we got to keep it tight. But plenty of coaching carousel things to talk about. We talked about it, or I talked about it a little bit this week. I know you talked about it a little this week. obviously the coaching situation in your neck of the woods is even fresher, and a lot of people are surprised that a move was made so quick. So I think that is a great place to start today. Other than that, we've got some Big Ten basketball action to talk about, my friend, as well as obviously some NFL wildcard stuff. So I think we should probably start off with some coaching carousel stuff. Were you surprised by the decision, the quick decision by New England to bring in Jared Mayo, and also the decision to have it be Jared Mayo? Obviously, a lot of people, I was watching a certain show the other day, and they were freaking out that Mike Vrabel was fired because he's going to be the next head coach of the New England Patriots. He's obviously got 7 other teams, I think, to pick and choose from now himself, Vrabel. So were you surprised about the Mayo hiring and how quick it happened?
Quick shout out to good friend, Mr. Billy Hewlin. Don't worry, Billy. You got a good coach heading your way. Keep an eye on the guy from Washington. I'm just wink, wink. Things could be moving real fast there. Just so you understand, his coaching record is 111-4. It's the most outrageous thing. And he got his team to the national title. It just wasn't all Penix. So if you got a chance to get DeBoer, please don't let him leave the building. Last night, 6 to 10 p.m., myself, Anthony Pepe, and Mark Linehan did basically a Bill Belichick show, especially from 6 to 8. Bob Sotzi, Steve Diossi, Alex Barth from 98.5, and that's where I'm going to lead in right there, gave us the skinny on Mayo. How fast do you think this could happen? And he goes, as early as tomorrow morning. And we're like, how is this? Because Mark brought up the Rooney rule, where even though Gerard Mayo is part of that, you still have to at least interview 2 minorities before you make the final decision on your coaching decision. Well, if you remember, not too long ago, as Mayo was going through the process, Carolina Panthers and that fruitcake up there wanted to interview him. And I guess in Mayo's contract, it clearly stated that once Bill leaves the building, you are the head coach. So I guess that little loophole in the Rooney rule that allowed them to basically not have to go through the process and then just immediately hire Mayo. That was their guy. They did not want him to leave the building. Listen, I've been calling for 2 years, Vrabel. That was my predecessor. That's who I wanted. And as the news came out last week, I'm like, this is no coincidence here. But unbeknownst to me and most of Pat's Nation, Mayo was lock and barrel the next coach.
Yeah, I think the majority of people outside of that neck of the woods that maybe aren't as familiar with Jared Mayo as a coach were probably surprised by it, especially with the Vrabel situation there. So that one is obviously groundbreaking for a lot of people waking up this morning seeing that news. Now, as I mentioned it, I mean, Vrabel, where we got you and I believe Harbaugh is coming to the NFL. He's obviously one of the jobs that you and I thought he might be up for. In Chicago, they're sticking with Eberflus, obviously. So Chargers, Vegas, an option potentially for Harbaugh there. What about Vrabel? Where are we thinking for Vrabel? We've got Atlanta. I know they are interviewing Raheem Morris, but they could have kept Raheem Morris. He might say, "Screw you! You could have had me in the first place. Why didn't you hire me then?" I don't know. What are we thinking with Vrabel here? He's got I think 7 other options, unless I'm drawing a blank on one that's already been closed out.
Well, you're going to laugh when I say this because I think once one drops, they're all going to fall into place. And we got to get through the weekend here. And you're going to call me crazy because Bill Belichick has been tied to Atlanta. And now he's looking for a ready-made team. He wants to win. He's 14 away from tying Shula, 15 away from winning. And I've been saying all along that if Chicago decides to go Caleb, they definitely would like to do what Houston did and try to double dip. They want to do it Caleb and Harrison. Justin Fields, they want a second or a third pick. I don't know what the compensation will be. So I'm sticking with Justin Fields to Atlanta. and that makes sense for Bill. But my point on this weekend, and I'll get to Vrabel, big if, your Packers go into Dallas and upset the Cowboys, I'm just a little birdie here, don't kill the messenger, Jerry will be on the phone Monday or Tuesday to Bill Belichick. 12 wins a year for 3 straight years. God bless them. First time the Cowboys have ever done it. Hey, it looks great on paper. What have you done for me in the playoffs? When's the last time we went to a Super Bowl? Can you imagine Bill Belichick with Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb? Now, go back to the Mac Jones draft. Bill was all in on Parsons, and he just didn't slip fall enough. He went to Dallas, and he got stuck with Mac Jones. And my point is, you want a ready-made team. You just need the head coach. Let him handle the defense. Get your OC in there. I think that's a match made in heaven.
I don't disagree with you. And even if for whatever reason, Bill, I think Bill would, obviously you are closer to the, knowing what he wants and doesn't want, blah, blah, blah. But even if it's not Bill, I mean, him or Vrabel as the 2 options potentially to go to Dallas instead of McCarthy, I think would be a slam dunk for them. And they would do that in a heartbeat if they thought they could get either of them over McCarthy, because I've got a lot of love for McCarthy as a Packers fan. He's a Super Bowl winning coach for the Packers, but I also strongly believe that had they hired Sean Payton instead of Mike McCarthy, that I'd have an extra ring in my trophy case instead of the one that Mike McCarthy brought us. So because that was obviously the carousel at the time back in 2006 was McCarthy, Sean Payton were the two names there, and that's just my personal belief. So maybe I'm a little egotistical about my Packers, but there's a few NFC Championship losses in that stretch that I think you could turn around if you had someone else. A lot of shortcomings from McCarthy is what I'm trying to say there. So, no, I'm with you 100%, and I'm with you as far as I think Atlanta is going to have to get aggressive for a quarterback. I think if you love what they've got in their team, they have to get aggressive for a quarterback there, and interested to see who the coaching change that they make there is. So, are we still sticking with? I'm still sticking with LA for Harbaugh. What about you?
Yeah, I was with Bernie Fratto last week. We have talked Fox Sports Radio. We brought him on to Sports Map Radio last week. The Chargers are the favorite per Bernie. Expecting Mark Davis and the Raiders also to do a full court press. Now, we know the Chargers and Spanos doesn't cut big checks, but I think his, let's just say his cojones are under the fire here. You can't waste Justin Herbert as he's getting into his prime. A ready-made team needs some help, needs some work, obviously, but the point of the matter very simply is you have an opportunity to get a Harbaugh. So my point very simply is if Harbaugh does come into the building, you don't allow him to leave the building. So now Vrabel, Philly, by the way, and Sirianno, even though Super Bowl, they're getting restless already. They travel Monday night to the Bucks. If they exit on the first weekend there, keep an eye on Philly there. So I think Mike will sit back and let the chips fall into place. Again, if Dallas makes it to the NFC Championship, McCarthy's not going anywhere. But if they were to bow out this weekend, or Philly, so let's just play the game. Bill to Atlanta, Harbaugh to the Chargers. That leaves Vrabel sitting in the catbird seat. I don't know. He doesn't seem like a Vegas type guy to me. Maybe more
Washington?
Midwest. Yeah. And Washington came clearly out and said that Belichick is not a part of their plan, which I had him the whole time over there at Naval Academy, Washington. So I don't know which direction Washington is going to go either. But Vrabel, I think, will let the dust settle. But I think someone will get hot and horny for him, and we got our eyes and ears to the grindstone for sure.
No, I agree. I think he's fantastic. I think the Titans are headed for a dark period there. Philly is the one. I'm glad you mentioned that, because that obviously they are getting restless, and the fact that they're coordinators that have gone on and have had relative success. Obviously, the Cardinals only win 4 games, but you know what I mean. They were projected to win 1-2 games and be an absolute dumpster fire. He had them playing scrappy all season long. So Vrabel into Philly honestly sounds like a good match. Honestly, it makes sense to me if that job opens up, which I think some people would be shocked. But if they get embarrassed and look terrible again this weekend against or on Monday against Tampa, then I absolutely could see it there. So. And Tennessee is the job. I think Tennessee is. Would you say Tennessee is the least desirable job out of all the ones that are open this, or maybe Carolina? Tennessee or Carolina? Which one's less desirable for a head coach coming in?
The problem with Carolina, and listen, I had a little conspiracy theory, and people are going to call me crazy, but just play along here.
Okay.
The Saban news came quick, but he had been very. It wasn't his best Bama team, but it was probably his best coaching.
Yeah.
And to lose week 4 to Texas, but then to run the slate to beat Georgia and to get to the Final Four, and a heartbreaking loss, obviously, in overtime. Very tired of what the landscape of college football with the NIL, with the transfer portal. And you're competing not just for your own guys, but just the nonsense that's going on. So my conspiracy theory, and it's just my conspiracy theory, is the lunatic in Carolina. Hey, Bill. Hey, Nick, why don't you come down and sit and talk with us? I got a vacancy right here. It's in the South. And, oh, by the way, I have Bryce Young, whom Nick coached. So Nick took one bite of the apple with Miami. It didn't work out well, but a lot of these big-time coaches in college also want to leave their legacy and give the NFL a shot, hence why Harbaugh, national title, drops the mic and now will be heading to the NFL. I think Nick might want another bite at this apple. Why not stay in the South? Why not get paid handsomely? Oh, and why not coach Bryce Young?
Interesting. I think he would have to have that confirmation that Tepper isn't going to be as hands-on as he's been with Reich and since he's been there. Because obviously that's the part of the stake right now is that David Tepper wants to be all hands-on and talking to, I think, what was it, him and Frank Reich said they talk just about every single day about football stuff. And if Saban comes in or anyone like that, I have to imagine they're going to tell that dude to screw off. So I don't hate it, though. I don't hate it. That does not. That's not the craziest thing we've heard all week, my friend.
And shout out to Marty Lowe, another Bama guy. Roll Tide, Marty. And the funny thing is, with the Vrabel exit in Tennessee, all the Ohio State fans that want to fire Ryan Day, Vrabel to Ohio State. They're not going to fire him this year, by the way. But the point is, again, Vrabel played for Ohio State, won a national championship, and would be a great final destination. Now, again, I have no insight on that. They're not firing Ryan Day this year. He's got 3 losses in his last bazillion. It took Jim Harbaugh did lose 9 in a row to Ohio State, by the way.
Right.
So it takes some time. So if he had another losing year at Ohio State and Vrabel was still available, which he probably won't. Maybe that is. But here we go right here. Russell Tepper would have to agree to move to Wisconsin. I'm telling you right now, Riley, we don't need any content, meaning the next 3 months leading up to the football NFL draft is just going to be nothing like we've ever seen before.
No, I can't wait. There's plenty of storylines that I'm sure we're not even thinking of that are going to come out of the woodwork and be worth talking about. So, no, I'm excited for it, my friend, and I hope there's some, obviously, the scenario that you put out there obviously is music to my ears that I hope comes to fruition there, and we get some extra chaos in the coaching carousel. But if you want to hop over, we can hop over and chat about some of these wild card games. I haven't had a chance to talk about them too much yet this week. Obviously, you mentioned the Packers-Cowboys game is the afternoon game on Sunday there. Again, the Cowboys, I would say, are probably a better team than the Packers, but the Packers are playing with house money, and they're playing well right now. And Aaron Jones looked really, really healthy last week. So I'm trying not to get overly excited and over above my skis because making the playoffs with what we were dealt this year and the team that we had this year is a massive W anyways. So if we put up a competitive game here against the Cowboys this weekend, I will be very, very happy. But at the end of the day, I am giving the Packers a chance, and the health of Aaron Jones is a big part of that. Hopefully we can get A.J. Dillon back into this game with what he's been dealing with. Jair Alexander's rolling up his ankle on walkthroughs yesterday is obviously not beneficial there. So interested to see what happens. The Cowboys, I think the Cowboys are going to have to put up some points, which they can. The Packers defense could look like it did a few weeks ago. Hopefully not. The silver lining with the Packers defense, and as much as I've wanted Joe Barry out, and I think he ultimately will be out unless the Packers make a deep run again here, is their defense, though. The last 2-3 years, as much as I've hated on Joe Barry, it's looked good at the very end of the season in some playoff games. So I'm curious to see what it looks like tomorrow. What's today? Friday, so 2 days, Sunday. But I'm giving the Packers a serious puncher's chance against the Cowboys on Sunday. Had they lost the other day and we're limping into this one and we're in a bounce back spot, I'd be a little more nervous. But Packers are playing with house money. I at least feel that the Packers are going to keep this a competitive game here, Jeff.
It's funny because I'm showing the true number was 8 with a 49.5. Right now it's circa 50.5 and a 7. When you get into a playoff situation and they start the number at 7.5, they're hoping that they draw, obviously, Packer money. They're doing whatever they can to get that Packer money. I think it's going to be a competitive game. Again, take the last 2 months, Dallas at home. They've been averaging almost a 40 burger. I think the Packers are going to have to play that keep away, keep Dak and CeeDee Lamb off the field. Not that it'll be strictly a ground and pound situation there, but you're going to have to win the turnover battle, first of all. You're going to have to keep Mr. Parsons out of the backfield. Love's going to have to move the chains with his legs. And I think overall, I like the matchup. If you can get out early, that's the whole thing. When Dallas is at home and you're chasing them, forget about it, because Parsons and the rest of the defense get their ears pinned back. They've turned the ball over, and the rest is history. They got a field goal kicker that finally missed one for once. I think he's like 34 for 35 or something stupid like that. So I think you're a live dog, but you're a live dog at kickoff. You got to win the first quarter. You got to be competitive. You can't be down 10 or 13 at half.
No, it's still a team that can absolutely lay an egg and like you said, be down a couple scores at half, and we're panicking, and now we're floating the ball over the middle of the field, and then Dallas is really running up the score. So it could absolutely go the other way. I'm not naive to that at all, but. Yeah, they need to get Aaron Jones going like they had him against Chicago there, and he looked really healthy, so I'm pretty optimistic about that. They just need to lean on him more than they've leaned on him all season long, honestly, I think, in this game, and hopefully they will. Sometimes they've had matchups where they should have a favorable rushing attack against the team, and they still don't really hammer it as much as they should, so I'm hoping that's not the case on Sunday, but no, I live dog I think is accurate, and like I said, Packers fans will be, if we lose by 27-23 game, that'll be a success for the Packers, I think, at the end of the day. And obviously, we want to win, but to get to 9-8, make the playoffs with this young team feels really damn good at this point already.
I'm just trying to do some quick math in my head. I mean, the true number 49.5. I do think there's going to be a lot of points scored. Kind of curious here. What did they give you for team totals on both of those teams?
I want to double check that I got. This must not be totally correct because I see 20.5 for the Packers, but I see -140 to the over and -120 to the under. So I'm assuming it. Maybe there's just differing numbers here. I'm going to check another book here. I see 29.5 for the Cowboys though. 29.5. I'm trying to. This consensus app says 20.5 for the Packers, but those numbers obviously don't make sense. So give me 1 second here.
Because you're kind of moving in that right direction. In other words, that 20.5 for the Packers is a red flag to me because most people obviously will flock to the over 21 or better. You're a winner. So it kind of has me with the Packers stuck on 20 or less, and then the Cowboys getting to that 30-31 number.
Yeah, this app, I'm not sure. Maybe this consensus app was just taken straight from this one. I'm trying to pull up another one. Talk about some goofy odds. You've got on this app, you've got the Cowboys 29.5 over and under at minus 130. So to tell me if those are fair numbers there. And then over 30.5 at minus 105. The under at minus 160 for the Cowboys there. This one has over 20.5 for the Packers at minus 140 with the under at minus 120. But then the over 21.5 at minus 115 for the Packers on this one there.
Yeah, so if you go to DraftKings, they'll offer like a bazillion different ways to skin that cat, and whatever book or app that you're looking at, that is what we call a square/lottery app, meaning 60-cent lines. In other words, you go to the Mecca at Circa, and they're offering you 10-cent lines, say a South Point during March Madness and some other big time parts of the year will offer you penny lines, 5 cents either ways. But these lottery apps, we like to call them Montana, I think Washington, and a few others, it's just absolutely robbery. It reminds me of like a Conor McGregor fight where he's minus 1,000, and if you take the dog, he's plus 300. I'm like, hey guys, I mean, come on here,
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. I would say it seems the consensus fair number is 21.5 for the Packers.
Okay, so I would say this: you look for the plus money. If you like the Packers, and you think there's going to be a lot of score, and you take their team total over the 21.5, to me, I think they get stuck on stupid at 20 or 21. And if you like the Cowboys and are afraid of a backdoor cover of 7.5, 8, or whatever, and I'm not here, let's say, advocating to do a tease. I'm seeing now a lot of people crawling out of the work. Yeah, I'm going to tease Dallas and Buffalo, or I'm going to tease, Dallas with this or that again, or a lot of money line parlays. There'll be a lot of Dallas, Buffalo, whatever money line parlays as well. I think deep down, I think Dallas gets into the 30s. I do. So I'll find the soft point on the Cowboys, and where are you giving me plus money? Is it 30.5? Do I get to 31.5? And then, obviously I need the 33, 34, 35 number to cash that, but I will be definitely shopping in the Dallas Cowboy team total for that game on Sunday.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's a game where, I mean, I think Joe Barry's job is very in jeopardy anyways. He would have to throw a 20 or less game and a win to I think hold his job for another season here. If we're going 30 or more, I think Joe Barry loses his job. 31.5 on DraftKings for plus money for the Cowboys there. And you mentioned that Pittsburgh and Buffalo game. You mentioned there these people are going to be teasing both of those teams. Any thoughts that at least one of these dogs here, Packers or Steelers, could pull off an upset on the road here? I mean, the Steelers, no, it doesn't. I mean, T.J. Watt, obviously, not the same without him at 100% there. But I'm not saying I'm drinking the Kool-Aid on Mason Rudolph as the future of the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback, but is he at least moving the damn ball better than any of these other quarterbacks and with the offensive coordinators? Am I crazy to think that the Steelers are live in Buffalo this weekend?
I think you are crazy, but the line actually did drop. Let me see. I had a 7.5. It's 10. There was a correction. Listen, weather is going to be an issue in Kansas City. Weather is going to be an issue in Buffalo. The funny thing, Riley, is that Kansas City, they're talking this could be the coldest game ever. -2, -3 with a wind chill of -20 and 30, high winds. This is the frozen tundra game. The funny thing is the whole world's on the under, and now it's down to 43.5. But here's the real funny. I haven't heard one person say the over, and these guys haven't dropped it to 35, 36. Like in Buffalo right now, it's 35.5 and 36. I'm going to announce to everyone watching and listening what we did last year with the playoff brackets. We were sitting, the ECSI VIPs were sitting with a Bengals 13-1 and a 49ers 14-1. to win the Super Bowl. And what we needed to do is we needed to get some coverage on both favorites. And the favorite in the NFC was Philly, and the favorite in the AFC was Kansas City. So we got creative, and we says, we're not buying the chalk here. How do we get creative? Well, we got Jalen Hurts Super Bowl MVP at 6-1, and we got Patrick Mahomes Super Bowl MVP at 4-1. So they both met in the championship, and you're not guaranteed that either one of them win a Super Bowl MVP, but most likely one of those two were gonna. At halftime, obviously Jalen Hurts was the Super Bowl MVP, but when the final gun sounded, it was Patrick Mahomes. So we cashed the 4-1 ticket. So anyone that hasn't played the brackets, meaning you haven't dug into the playoffs yet, I'm going to offer some advice here. The chalk is San Fran and the Ravens. Both teams with a week off. Both teams favored to win the AFC and the NFC. Both teams favored to get to the Super Bowl. Now, we saw what the Ravens did in San Fran a few weeks ago. 5.5-point underdogs absolutely mauled them. I think right now, if they were to meet on a neutral field, initially it was San Fran -2.5. I think it's a pick now. So I'm going to get creative with anyone that wants to grab their notebook here. If you like San Fran and don't want to pay the chalk, you go and you take Brock Purdy, Super Bowl MVP, and you take Christian McCaffrey, Super Bowl MVP. If you like the Ravens to get to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl, you go now punch your ticket for Lamar Jackson, Super Bowl MVP. Now, talking out loud here, I think the Rams are the dark horse in the NFC, and I did think the Browns were the dark horse in the AFC. Now, the whole world's on the Browns in Houston, and I can just tell you overnight, this has been some sharp buyback, heavy money on Houston. That back down to 2, so I'm backing up there. Here's my point, guys. I think Buffalo's going to host Kansas City. Okay? And I think either Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen, one of those two, will be coming down to Baltimore to play in the AFC Championship. So if you like Buffalo, put a little something on them to win the AFC, put a little something on them to win the Super Bowl, and grab Josh Allen, Super Bowl MVP. If you like the Chiefs, go grab them to win the AFC. Go grab them to win the Super Bowl, and make sure you grab Patrick Mahomes to be your Super Bowl MVP. You want to add these tickets to your portfolio as the tournament begins. You will have perfect hedge opportunities. Let me see. At the top of my head, I think Buffalo will be about 3.5-point favorites maybe against Kansas City. That's, of course, saying that they both win. So it's just a way to get creative. It's a way to add real nice value to your portfolio and enable you to not have the chalk. Do I think it could be? Do you think? Do I think it's going to be Baltimore and San Fran? I think there's a good chance. I think San Fran's going to be a hard out, but I think Baltimore, Josh Allen or Mahomes, or as Russell says, if you like the Browns, look at Myles Garrett and obviously look at Joe Flacco, because what Joe has done has been second to none.
No, I don't have anything that I too much to add to it, honestly, and it doesn't work the same. You say, "Well, I'm so in love with the Dolphins." Well, if the Dolphins win, they're probably going to Baltimore next week, and then they got to beat the Chiefs, Dolphins, or Chiefs, Ravens, and somebody else to get there. So, as much as you might like the Dolphins, the path for them to get there, barring a Pittsburgh upset, is going to be pretty astronomical there. So. Because I've got some early season, I think even preseason Dolphins futures, but I've already trying to find some way out of it because could they beat Kansas City tomorrow? Absolutely, but the likelihood that they're going to beat Kansas City, probably Baltimore, and then whatever it is, probably Buffalo after that is not likely. So no, I think the Chiefs, Bills, thinking of that is probably the safest and smartest way to pick it like that. So I like the way that you did it there. And yeah, for anyone that's looking at it, those numbers are just going to be better than the team future odds in most cases there. And like he said, it's not guaranteed that the quarterback or whoever is going to win it, but it's very, very likely that if they get there, they're going to win it. It's rare that a non-quarterback wins those things anymore.
Yeah, so we talked about the Packers and Dallas, obviously. Again, the Cleveland-Houston game opened at a pick with a 41. Now Cleveland 2 with a 44.5 at the Circa. Shout out to Derek Stevens. Shout out to Mr. Benson, the best in the business. That number did get to 2.5. There was a buyback there, so keep your eyes on that one. Miami and Kansas City, again, it's going to be the frozen tundra. I'm showing the true number of Kansas City at 1 at 44. It was never 1. It was 3. Now it's up to 4.5 with a 43.5. The whole world right now on Kansas City. The Tyreek Hill revenge game, first game back to Kansas City. Don't forget, in Germany, Kansas City beat Miami in the regular season. I haven't seen one person on social media that doesn't have the Chiefs winning that game. I think the Chiefs will win. Ron talked about it at length. I will be back with Ron tonight at 5 o'clock. He talked about the 6 straight weeks Kansas City had a rest disadvantage. Well, last week was their bye week, basically, in LA. They are fresh now. Now they have the rest advantage over the Dolphins. But the weather is going to be a key. Listen, if A-Chain pops a 70, 80-yarder, if Tyreek slips through and hits a 70, 75, 80-yarder, no one is giving this Dolphins team a chance. Just buyer beware. That's all I'm going to say.
You're talking to the main one person that might be the leading bandwagon of giving the Dolphins a chance here, my friend. The cold weather, obviously, expecting the Dolphins to go into a 0 degree, negative degree, whatever it is, situation is obviously a tough pill to swallow against the defending champs of Patrick Mahomes. But I don't think they're going to roll over and die, I guess is where I'm at. Could the Dolphins lose by 14 and they're the frauds that a lot of people have expected them to be? Absolutely, but I'm giving them a chance, man. And like you said, with if we were talking about a game being a 17-14 game and even a lower scoring than their first game around, then I don't know. I wouldn't feel as confident about it, but I think their offense is going to wake up a little bit and look a little bit better. But again, it's a hard pill to swallow. Asking this or looking for and training your brain to think that this Dolphins team can go not only into the bitter cold, potentially one of the coldest games, if not the coldest game ever, but doing it in Arrowhead against the defending champs. So I'm giving the Dolphins a chance. I am. Like I said, the thing that I said about I'm not buying any more Dolphins futures because of their path, that doesn't mean I don't think they can win this game. That just means if they win this game, I don't think they can beat Baltimore next week, if that's the case. So I will be the one person that says, give me a 24-21 Dolphins victory this weekend, my friend.
And don't forget, too, they've been playing short-handed the last couple of weeks with Jalen Waddle out. I haven't got confirmation if he's in or out. I think he will be a go. And as Russell says, one thing you can count on is Pacheco getting his touches. Oh, there's no doubt. He's back. He's ready. And the Dolphins defense has been, I don't want to call it a sieve of a sieve, but look at who they've played the last few weeks. They've been at home against Dallas. In comes the Bills. They've been playing the iron. Again, I like the Chiefs in the rest spot, but I'm just reading the market, reading social media, and again, reading the whole world on the under, yet Mr. Benson and them leaving it at 43.5. I'll go on record right now. This is telling me 24-20 Kansas City. And with Jeffrey throwing a 43.5, I think he's got plenty of windows and ticket people there. Take it. Come on, bet the under. Don't rush. We'll open up another window. And I think this, and egg on my face on Sunday morning, I get all that. But the fact of the matter is, don't be shocked if this does go over 43.5.
Right. And as far as the play to make, I like the over more than I like what I said about the Dolphins potentially winning and hanging in this game. But I like both of them. I like both of them, the Dolphins and the over. Again, I'm not as in love with the Dolphins. Could I see them losing this game? Absolutely. And I don't like playing the, what if or coulda, woulda, shoulda. But, I mean, some of these games that we're talking about the Dolphins as being frauds, I mean, you go back to the game against Kansas City. They lose by a touchdown. They had a bad bounce kind of pick six as they were driving down 14-0, I think, to make it 21-0, and they came back. You take that away, maybe that game's different. Lose to Buffalo 21-14, give up a punt return touchdown. So the offense hasn't looked as good as it needs to be. I will acknowledge that, and the defense with the guys they've lost is a serious concern. I am not denying that at all, but I don't think they've looked as bad in some of these big games as people are giving them credit for and lack of credit for. But again, as I think I'm cutting off the comments here so I can or I can't see the entire comment here, but 20 degree, negative 20 will be affect tacklers as much as offensive player. Yeah, 100%. I mean, sometimes it's harder to tackle guys when you've got, especially if Mostert is in. That's not nothing. I'm not saying if Mostert is in and hammer the Dolphins, but Mostert is another guy that who the hell wants to tackle that guy in 20 degree weather, let alone negative 20 degree weather. So if he's in and playing or anyone along those lines, it's a tough pill to swallow, and A-Chain himself can definitely do it also.
100%. You talked about Pittsburgh and Buffalo. I had a 7.5 for the 41, now 10, 9.5 right now, and a 35.5. Again, I'm not giving the Steelers as much credit. We had a TV reporter last night on Sports Map Radio. Her name, excuse me, is slipping my Ithaca grad though. No one, talking about Mason Rudolph, the resurgent Pittsburgh Steelers offense. In come the Bills, hotter than a firecracker. The number 2 seed, they're just hoping someone picks off the Ravens next week. Most likely they're hosting whoever with a chance to host the championship game. I remember Joe Burrow coming in last year and the whole world on Buffalo in a snowstorm. And I think first flash was 7-0, then 14-0, then 17-3. Thanks for playing. I'm not saying Mason Rudolph is Joe Burrow, but he does have weapons with Pickens, Deontay Johnson, whether Frymuth is there. They got a 2-headed monster with Najee Harris and Jalen Warren. I expect the Bills to win, but that could be closer than expected. And the Rams and Lions, I had a 3 with a 52, down to 51.5 and a 3. Listen, the return of Stafford just intrigues the shit out of me. The Lions back end has been putrid. Sean McVay, hats off. Kieran Williams, hats off. Aaron Donald on the other side. Puka Nuku, rookie of the year, offensive rookie of the year. They still got Cooper Kupp. I think the Rams are real dangerous.
No, I'm with you, and it's going to be I think it's going to be a shootout. I mean, the Lions are going to have to put up some points themselves. Because and this Ravens defense, I credit to this Rams defense. Obviously, it's not winning any awards this year, but I thought coming into the season, you look at them on paper, and outside of Aaron Donald, you say, who are these guys that they have on defense? And they've treaded water at least on defense for most of the season. So credit to the staff, and another reason why Raheem Morris is getting so much respect. Because he's done a lot with a bare cupboard there outside of Aaron Donald there. So I don't know who I think is going to win that game. I do think is going to be one of the better games of the weekend. Is going to come down to it at the end there because it's going to be an awesome atmosphere. And the quarterback matchup is a huge thing. If Goff has a couple of turnovers like we saw in a couple of their losses there, then I think that's what will definitely derail them. If they're both protecting the ball of these teams, then it's going to be a toss-up, and it's going to come down to who's got the ball last, in my opinion.
And the stench of the weekend / Monday, Philly goes into Tampa at a true number of 1.5 for the 43. At Circa right now, 3 with 43.5. Why is it the stench of the weekend? Is because Philly has just been playing so awful. Jalen Hurts hasn't thrown a ball all week. Devontae Smith said he will play. I don't know what's going on with A.J. Brown. Probably Philly's right up there with the worst defense, if not the worst defense, the worst back end in the tournament. And I was all in on Tampa. I'm like, oh, my God, this is the lock. And I don't use the word lock, but I was just loving the Bucks at home Monday night. And then all this negativity towards the Eagles, Sirianni getting potentially fired on the hot seat, and the line went to 3. And I'm like, if the whole world's on the Bucks here, Jalen Hurts is hurt, A.J. Brown's hurt, Sirianni's on the hot seat. They have looked like what the last 5 or 6 weeks, yet the number's up to 3. Listen, I was born at night, not last night. It's the Eagles or nothing for me. And it stinks to high heaven, but it's the Eagles.
100%. And for me, the pill to swallow is are the Eagles going to wake up? Because I personally have been waiting for this Tampa team to regress. Offensively, they have the last 2 weeks. These last two divisional games, their offense has not looked good. Defense has stepped up, and and that Saints game, I guess it didn't step up. They lost 23-13, but obviously shut out the Panthers. Probably shouldn't have shut out the Panthers. Another coulda, shoulda, woulda, but a DJ Chark reaching for the end zone, a missed 40-something yard field goal, and we're talking about this a little differently. We might not even be talking about Tampa Bay in this game if the Panthers don't shoot themselves in the foot last week there. So I've been waiting for this Tampa team to regress. But Philly has to wake up. Obviously, they just got their ass kicked by a Giants team playing for next to nothing there. So I'm with you. I've got no interest in Tampa Bay. A year ago, basically my game of the year was the Cowboys going into Tampa, even with Tom Brady and then the domination that he's had over him. Not really a believer in this Tampa Bay team unless you give them the right matchup, which, again, the Philly defense could be the decider of good or bad what happens in this game. But I'm with you. I am all Eagles in this one. No interest in Tampa Bay whatsoever.
It's funny. We talked backstage and we got the show off the road. And I said, this would have been an hour and a half Breakfast Bankroll Big 10 preview. Unfortunately, we said we were going to try to keep it tight. We did cover all the football. And then basically at this point, have another commitment, obviously, with WagerWire and their team and community and followers at noon. So I was like, we're going to cut this to 11:45. We covered the meat and potatoes for now. But as I always do, Riley, closing thoughts.
Closing thoughts. I'll do my closing thoughts, a quick blurb on the Big Ten because we didn't get too much to it. Not any groundbreaking games, as I said to you. Weather permitting, hoping to be up in Madison tomorrow morning for Wisconsin and Northwestern. Although the snow could keep me out of that, and I might eat a couple tickets. Hopefully that is not the case. But as you've said the last couple of years in the Big East, my friend, with teams in the Big East, you got to win all your home games and try and go 500 on the road. The Big Ten has been shaping up to look very similar. Outside of one team, and this includes non-conference games, there's only one team that's lost more than 2 games in their home building this year, and that's the ugly Michigan Wolverines right now. No other team has lost more than 2 games in their home building this year with a lot of high volume of home games. I mean, most of them have 8-0, 8-1, 9-1, 10-1 records here in their home building. So it's tough for any road team anywhere. I think you look at tonight's slate and you've got a team that nobody believes in Indiana as 4.5 point favorites at home, an Iowa team that struggled 4.5 point favorites against a good Nebraska team. So. But you got to take some of these numbers and look at them carefully when you got some of these teams that you don't believe in as the road team or the home team, and just know that these home court advantages have been really, really successful for the most part here. So still wide open. Wisconsin's the only undefeated team in conference there, with obviously the number 1 team in the country, at least for now, 3-2, and Illinois a big win last night. So the slate is wide open. There's only 2 or 3 really good teams, and there's a lot of slightly above average teams, and it's going to be a fun rest of the season there. So that's all I had as far as the Big Ten slate for the most part there. But hoping to be up in Madison, and I'll send some pictures if I am there tomorrow, trudging through the snow.
Russell adds, has a coach ever been fired after taking a team to a Super Bowl, then following it up with a 10-1 start? No, not that I can remember. So that is definitely interesting. And as for you getting to the game, I hope you do. Nothing better than watching the kids. A great matchup. Purdue falling this week. Actually, the whole top of the board, 1, 2, 3 all fell. Of course, my UConn and 5. Oh, and we had the
Tennessee.
Houston loss. Yeah, we had the Houston loss of the ECSI VIPs. UConn. I don't know if UConn will go to 1. Listen, I don't need to be 1 in January. Trust me. I lived that last year where we started off, I think, 9-0, and then went like 2-4, 2-5 to start the Big East. Made a nice run in the regular season. Bowed out in the semis, which was the best thing that could have happened to that team. Got a couple extra days. A rest for the big dance, and then go 6-0. So I still think your Purdue team will get a 1 seed. I still think they'll be I'm using the Virginia number one seed lose to a 16, come back and win the championship. I think Purdue is in that same race. If anyone wants to buy some stock in Purdue right now, you can get a nice buy low right now if you just want to add them to the portfolio to get to the Final Four to cut the nets down. We'll be adding a lot more of those as we progress there. But I hope you get to the game. Shout out to Billy Hewlin. Shout out to Marty Lowe. Of course, shout out to a big fan, Russell Saylor. Russell, I'll be back with Ron at 5 o'clock. Anyone wants to partake there. We'll be on with Wager Wire and I think Twitter Spaces in about 12 minutes. And at 3 o'clock, I will be on Andrew McGinnis at Wager Talk and at McGinnis Pick Station talking pucks for Saturday. So, Riley, always a pleasure. Listen, be safe. Hopefully you get to Madison tomorrow. Enjoy the games. Tag us. Send some pictures, will you?
I will. And like I said, I'd say it's a coin flip right now, whether I go or not, because it's rough sledding out there right now.
Well, just put on the Parker, add a few dogs to the sled, and get there, will you? From myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, the one and only Riley Magnuson at Riley_Magnuson, the one. We wish everyone a blessed day. The weekend is here. Have some fun. It's wild card weekend. Jump on over to Twitter Spaces with Wager Wire. I'll be on there for the next hour, and we'll be talking. I don't know what we'll be talking. I'm the guest. It's nice to be the guest once in a while. So everyone have a great day. Enjoy yourselves, and we will see you soon.